So in a recent video I had to take some macro photos and also video. I have some macro photography equipment from ages ago which basically comprises of some reasonable quality manual M42 lenses combined with some extension tubes. In fact, I've also got a set of bellows as well, allows me to get enormous magnification. But one thing that it needs whenever you're using extension bellows and extension rings is a lot of light, and I don't have much of a very good setup for lighting macro shots. So that's what this video is about making a macro ring light. I've already designed and then printed out on my 3D printer this little fruit basket. Actually, this is going to have some of this LED strip put down each of the legs. It's angled in to focus the light in. Then this is just a little adapter ring that I bought off somewhere, I can't remember where, but that fits in perfectly, and it has the thread that actually mates up with this lens here, a 49mm thread. It also fits on my camcorder as well, so be a useful ring light possibly for that too. But the file for this will be in the description below. I will link to it on Thingiverse. It will have parametric features on it that you can adjust for your own size of adapter, depending on adjusting the size of the various dimensions and even of the angle. But today's video is about mounting the LEDs on this and then trying it out. So first up we'll be cutting some strips of these LEDs in order to fix them onto this. Let's just create a bit of space and get these things out of the way. These are, I think, Marswell, Meanwell, something well, branded LED strips, and they are high color rendering index output. At least they say they are 95 plus. So hopefully I've measured this out correctly to be able to fit these on. I just have to decide whether to have the cabling at the top or at the bottom. For this final one, I might actually mount it this way up and drill through around about here for those leads. So here we are. I've just been out to the workshop and drilled a little hole out, and also grooved out in the plastic ring as well, so that hopefully we can feed these wires through. be able to stick that down, something like that. Now, I know there's not a lot of those terminals available there, but that's from them that I will daisy chain on just around for both the positive and negative going to each of the other strips. So we're going to start linking these together. The first thing to do is just to tin, to pre-solder all of these pads. Get that soldering iron warmed up. Nice flickery display there. There's not much shown on these, so I may have to try and just expose a bit more. And just to check that those are actually connected through. See, that one isn't. That one is. I don't know whether I've got through the coating there. That connects through and I'm just not getting a very good connection on that. But we'll carry on regardless. I think that's the right thing to do. So we have is just a piece of standard 7-strand thin hookup cable. I'm going to use this to join all the positives together, and then I've got some grey to do all the negatives together. So the way I've done these sort of things before is by having these sort of wire strippers. It makes things a lot easier, which will become evident in just a moment. But I'll just tin. You may be able to see I've actually stripped a bit in the middle. Let me just tin that. Right. Let's say we'll start here. So the goal is we're going to gradually work our way around. I know I'm going to need to strip mine from there. So you can do that, and then with this kind of stripper, it only needs a small bit strip, because whenever you heat this up when you're tinning it, the insulation will burn back slightly anyway. It certainly makes for a nice, neat connection without having to juggle with a whole load of short wires. I'll bring you in a bit closer so you can have a better view of what's going on. Yeah, that's a bit closer. So you can see I brought it round and I just kind of mark it with my thumbnail where I want to start the next. A little bit of insulation in the way there, but that will soon burn off. A bit of heat. It's just a case of carrying on, rinse and repeat. Of course, coming the other direction. Sometimes that happens. Just a little bit of a pain. A lot of a pain. It broke right in the middle. That's okay. Whenever you're doing this, you need to strip off a bit at one end, but don't twist it, just leave it as strands. And then as you come off from the other ends, it then has somewhere to go. So what I'm going to do with this one, I'm actually going to measure and create this first one, because I actually want to put this first one on before I do the join. And that's just so that there's not much strain when making off that join. And there we go. That's one pull done. I'm going to do the other one now and get back to you. And so here we are. I've got a little power supply hooked up to a cheap pulse width modulation speed controller. And here we go. Moment of truth. That's at the minimum setting. And all the way up to actually painfully bright. Of course, I don't know how hot these run when they're at the painfully bright setting. We'll have to see. It may run too hot, of course, for long periods without softening the plastic. But I'm very pleased with that. I think that's going to do very nicely. Alright, just hook this up and give it a little try out and see if we can get a bit of macro footage on our conclusion of our video here now. Can you see that spot? Let's see if I can point to it. spot there. Stay still. That's obviously a spot on the lens or on my sensor. Needs a bit of a clean. But yeah, this is a 3mm LED. This is, as I mentioned in another video, one that has a bit of a peculiar property in that the flat, as you can see here, the flat is actually on the anode instead of being on the cathode. So this is probably as close up as I can get with retaining some element of depth of field to be able to have what I'm looking at in focus. I can go in way closer than this. These are only just over half of my extension tubes on this particular setup, and not even using my bellows, which add an extreme amount of magnification. But this shows a very close up our 3mm LED. You're able to see the bond wires there going onto the die from both the post, and it looks like the anvil as well. So I consider that a success. That about wraps this up. All I've left to do really, I might design myself a little 3D printed case for this little controller. If I end up doing that, I'll also put the link to that down in the description there. It too will be on Thingiverse, along with the links to these and also the LEDs themselves. I got both of these from Amazon, so I'll leave links in the description below for those. Thanks for watching, and hopefully this has been entertaining at the very least, if not a little bit instructional, and I hope to see you the next time.